Have you ever looked around your garden and wondered when it was actually ready to harvest? Or maybe you've pulled something out of the ground and then realized you didn't know what to do with it? It happens to the best of us. But don't worry, because today we're going to answer all those burning questions and more. We're going to talk about how to tell if your veggies are ready to harvest, tools that will help you harvest efficiently, how to properly handle your produce so it lasts longer, and storage options to help you store your veggies for as long as possible. So grab a glass of iced tea, sit back, and get ready to learn everything you need to know about harvesting and storing vegetables. Let's get started. Knowing when your vegetables are ready to harvest can be tricky, but it doesn't have to be. Check out these helpful hints. For leafy greens like lettuce, kale, and spinach, aim to harvest outer leaves when the plant is young and tender. As the plant matures, the leaves become tougher and less flavorful. Most greens are ready to harvest about 30 to 60 days after planting. Tomatoes are another popular garden vegetable that can be tricky to harvest at the perfect time. They should be harvested when they are fully colored, firm, and slightly soft to the touch. This is usually around 60 to 80 days after transplanting. Each variety has a different ripening time, so be sure to check the seed packet or plant tag for specific instructions. When harvesting root vegetables like carrots, beets, and radishes, look for signs of maturity such as the greens becoming yellow and wilted. For carrots, also look for the tops to fall over, and for beets, check for signs of the greens bolting or flowering. Eggplants should be harvested when they are glossy and firm and before they begin to wrinkle or sag. Peppers are another popular choice, but it can be tough to know when they're ready to pick. Generally, peppers are ready to harvest when they reach their mature size and color. However, they will continue to ripen on the vine for several weeks after reaching this point. If you live in a warm climate, you can leave them on the vine for as long as possible. Cucumbers are best harvested in the morning after the dew has dried, but before the sun becomes too hot. Look for cucumbers that are firm, free of blemishes, and have not yet begun to turn yellow. Squash and zucchini are ready to harvest when they are young and tender. They will continue to grow throughout the summer and fall, but the quality will decline as they mature. Be sure to check them often, as they can go from immature to overripe in just a few days. Many people think that herbs should be harvested just before flowering, but this is not always the case. Some herbs, such as basil and dill, are best harvested when they are in full bloom. Others, such as oregano and thyme, can be harvested throughout the year as needed. When harvesting any herb, be sure to use clean, sharp pruners to prevent disease. Now let's talk tools. There are many tools available to help make harvesting easier, from basic gardening gloves and pruners to more specialized tools like potato diggers and trellis systems. Gloves and pruners are essential for protecting your hands and ensuring a clean cut. Potato diggers can help reduce bruising and soil contamination when harvesting root crops. And trellis systems can make harvesting vining crops like tomatoes and cucumbers much easier. Plus, there are even tools specifically designed for certain fruits and vegetables. For example, cherry and grape harvesters can make picking those fruits much easier, while citrus pickers can help reduce waste by picking fruit off the ground. No matter what tools you choose, be sure to use them safely and correctly to prevent injury and damage to your plants. Proper handling of your produce can make all the difference in keeping it fresh and nutritious. Here are some quick tips for avoiding common mistakes. Start by handling your produce with care to avoid bruising and damaging it. For delicate items like berries and greens, use containers or baskets with a gentle surface to prevent crushing. Be gentle when washing your produce, especially when it comes to delicate items like greens and herbs. Use cool water and a gentle spray or scrub to remove any dirt or debris without damaging the produce. Dry your produce thoroughly before storing it to prevent mold and spoilage. For leafy greens, use a salad spinner to remove excess moisture. And for delicate items like mushrooms and herbs, pat them dry with paper towels. Don't wash mushrooms as they are very fragile and can absorb water quickly. Instead, wipe them with a damp cloth to remove any dirt or debris. When trimming produce, use sharp, clean tools to make sure you get a clean cut and minimize bruising. This is especially important for items like tomatoes and avocados, which can bruise easily. Lastly, be sure to sort through your produce and discard anything that's damaged or wilted. This will help prevent spoilage and ensure that you're only storing high-quality produce. Now that you know how to handle your produce properly, let's move on to storage. There are a variety of ways to store produce, each with its pros and cons. Let's start with refrigeration. Refrigerating your produce is a great option for short-term storage, but it's important to know which items will store well and which won't. Leafy greens, herbs, broccoli, cauliflower, peppers, onions, mushrooms, and avocados will all store well in the fridge for a week or two. Root vegetables like carrots and potatoes are better stored in a cool, dark place like a pantry or root cellar. Fruits like apples, pears, and citrus fruits can be refrigerated for several weeks, but they may lose their flavor and texture over time. For longer-term storage, consider freezing. Many vegetables and fruits can be frozen and stored for months, though some may lose their texture or flavor during the process. Broccoli, cauliflower, peppers, mushrooms, onions, carrots, and spinach all freeze well. As for fruits, berries, peaches, plums, and apples are good choices for freezing. 2. Maximize the shelf life of your produce. Consider blanching vegetables before freezing. Blanching helps preserve the color, texture, and nutrients of vegetables during the freezing process. To blanch vegetables, boil them for 3 to 5 minutes. Then, immediately plunge them into ice water to stop the cooking process. After blanching, drain the vegetables thoroughly and freeze them. For fruits, freezing is usually not necessary for preservation, but it can help extend their shelf life. Another option for longer-term storage is canning. Canning is a great option for preserving vegetables and fruits for up to a year or more. To can fruits and vegetables safely, it's important to follow proper canning procedures. This includes using a pressure canner for low-acid vegetables like broccoli and carrots, and using a water bath canner for high-acid fruits like tomatoes and berries. Proper canning will help prevent the growth of harmful bacteria and ensure the safety of your canned goods. To get started with canning, be sure to check out our resources for beginners. Proper storage can help prolong the freshness and quality of your produce for a longer period of time. Before storing any produce, take the time to inspect it carefully. Discard any bruised, damaged, or wilted items to prevent spoilage and potential cross-contamination. When storing produce, it's crucial to keep different types of produce separate. This helps prevent ethylene-sensitive produce like leafy greens and broccoli from being damaged by ethylene-producing produce like apples and avocados. It's also important to store produce according to its needs. For example, root vegetables like potatoes and carrots should be stored in a cool, dark place like a pantry or root cellar, whereas leafy greens and herbs are best stored in the refrigerator. Additionally, some produce like onions and garlic should be stored in a well-ventilated area to prevent mold and rot. By taking these precautions, you can help ensure that your produce stays fresh and lasts as long as possible. Let's take a closer look at how to store some common garden vegetables. Potatoes and other root vegetables should be stored in a cool, dark place like a pantry or root cellar. Aim for a temperature of around 55 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit and a relative humidity of 85 to 95%. Store potatoes in a container that allows for air circulation. Check them regularly for signs of sprouting or rotting and discard any affected potatoes promptly. Onions and garlic should be stored in a well-ventilated area in a net or mesh bag. They should be kept in a cool, dry place with good air circulation. Avoid storing onions and garlic near ethylene-producing fruits like apples and bananas. Winter squash and pumpkins can be stored in a cool, dry place like a pantry or basement. They should be kept in a single layer to prevent bruising. Check them regularly for signs of decay and discard any affected squash or pumpkin promptly. Cabbage and other cruciferous vegetables should be stored in a cool, moist place like a refrigerator or root cellar. Wrap cabbage in a damp cloth or paper towel and store it in a plastic bag. Check them regularly for signs of decay and discard any affected cabbage promptly. In addition to traditional storage methods, consider exploring newer options like vacuum sealing. Vacuum sealing can help extend the shelf life of your produce by removing air and moisture from the packaging, which slows down the growth of mold and bacteria. Vacuum sealing is a great option for storing chopped vegetables, cooked grains and beans, chopped nuts and seeds. If you have an abundance of vegetables and aren't able to eat them all fresh, consider preserving them through methods like drying, freezing, or canning. Drying is a great option for preserving herbs, mushrooms, and root vegetables. Freezing is a good choice for preserving berries, peppers, green beans, and corn. Canning is a great option for preserving tomatoes, salsa, and other tomato-based products. Well, there you have it. Now you know how to harvest and store your homegrown vegetables like a pro. Remember to check out our website for more tips and tricks. Happy harvesting and storing.